He's mixing with flair, every sip's a moment. We're happy to share liquid lunch. Pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for a day. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. Sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worries slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for the day. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salut and welcome. Welcome to another Tuesday's Liquid Lunch. Tuesday where we talk, and we talk about what you want to talk about. Yes, you in the chat will tell me what you want to talk about and in what direction we will take the conversation. Want to say hi to everybody who is here already, starting with the first one that I saw this morning, which was Big Al of Big Al Presents. He says, good afternoon, my friends. Have a great show. Hope everyone has a relaxing liquid lunch. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my friend. And, of course, my lovely wife calling me the love of her life, which I appreciate so much. And she says, like, share, subscribe, become a member, and leave a comment. Thank you so much. And Mark Malnikoff is early for him. He's right on time. He says, Merpo, here I are. Good to see you, Mark. Good to see you. Are you watching trains today? And JPRPH1, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Let's see. Geek Flag with Nate Knows. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and become a member. Yes, please do all those YouTube things. I would very much appreciate that. Hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show. Thank you so much, Jonathan Conroy. Good to see you. The Bird Woman of YouTube, Connie Cleary of Fluff Chick Productions. Thank you so much for being here. And let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Nate. He says for $2, what's up, my brother from another mother? Yes. Well, you were here yesterday, so you already know probably the biggest news for me in the past 24 hours. I did go to the doctor yesterday, got my results on that MRI. Don't know why I couldn't get them before going in to see the doctor, but the doctor looked at the MRI and said I didn't have any muscle damage in my foot. So any discomfort and swelling that I was getting was because I got a broken foot and it's healing, and that's what happens. There's swelling around broken bones to, protect it. So she moved me from wearing this big old moon boot that, immobilizes my whole ankle to more of like a Frankenstein shoe. So I can now move my ankle, and I can even, right now, I have my, my legs crossed. I got my foot up on my knee, so it's comfortable. And I can get up and down the stairs a little bit better, so I'm getting a little bit more mobile. But most important was the mindset. I didn't know how bad it was. And I've gotten good news that I'm on the mend, and everything's going okay. We don't have to go in and do surgery or anything like that. And so I am a very, very happy camper in that regard. But thank you so much for the super chat. That's very, very, very kind and very generous of you. Let's see. Anyone see the news about Kodak? They may cease to exist soon. Never thought about that happening. Yeah, good point, Mark. And yeah, I think I did hear something about that. Somebody sent me an email about that. Yeah, that's unfortunate because everything's becoming digital, right? And the problem with that is, and this is something we see with progress, when you go from one technology to another, the old one tends to fall away, and there's no profit in keeping it alive. And that's kind of dangerous if anything ever comes up where we have to go back to that and recreate that. So I don't even know what to say about that. Getting ready to take the shuttle to the dilithium mines, I understand. If you see an energy wave coming across the neutral zone, it's my doing. I'm pissed off. Oh, I'm going to have to hear the latest. I'll be interested in what's going on. Very sorry to hear what you go through at that particular company. Mark has worn both of those, but a Klingon boot horn on it. That's actually not a bad idea. It would probably look, more appropriate. There you go. There you go. And let's see, what else we got here? Saying hi to each other. Curtis Selby, the voice of Northern Oklahoma. Nothing to see here, citizen. The Tired Midnight Blogger. I will be on his channel tomorrow, immediately after Liquid Lunch. So, assuming that I can forward to his channel, as long as he's accepting raids, I will be able to just migrate us all over there when I'm done with Liquid Lunch, and we'll just go right into Curtis's show. Looking forward to that. That will be fun. At least I will enjoy it. Give me just a second here. I want to check on something. Okay. So, you love raids, absolutely. So what do we talk about today? Oh, and there's the link to the show. So the link is already up. So you guys can go over there, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. It says notify me so that you know. Of course, if you're here, you'll know because you'll be taken right over there. Just like a shuttle, just like you have concierge service, you got a chauffeur to take you right over there. I'm going to have to watch the rerun of the interview after work. Understood. It'll still be there. That's the way these things work. I understand. So there you go. Oh, did you like that? Just something I kind of threw together. Actually, I shouldn't say it that way. I put a little effort into it. And I think of all the people here that know this the best, I think Nate knows this the best. For the most part, this AI art isn't quite there where you could just tell it what you want and get exactly what you want. You have to play with it. You get something back, you have to take it back in, you've got to touch it up, you got to go, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. And some of these programs don't have the ability for you to be that flexible with what you communicate. You can't take something that's created and go, okay, now take that and make the guy a little bit skinnier, or give him brown eyes, or no, he should be bald, or something like that. You can't do that. So you have two choices. You either take it into Photoshop and do it by hand, or you start all over and just roll the dice and keep rolling the dice until you get what you want. But so this thumbnail I did for you, Curtis, for example, I was like, this person should have glasses. I had to add glasses myself, and I had to take off a beard and stuff like that. So I'm glad we went with a line art on that one. But anyway, I'm getting way too in the weeds behind the scenes. Troy, not to jump ahead. Well, there's no particular plan on a Tuesday. Oh, to tonight. But I'm very excited to watch the Psych episode. Do you understand? Psych is one of my favorite shows. Me and my wife, we love the show. Yeah, I'm actually surprised Netter and I don't have the whole series on DVD. We only have 2 seasons, one of which specifically is this one that contains, I think it's the 3rd season. I want to say it's the 3rd season that the Dual Spires is part of. And I'm not entirely... I think we got the 1st season because it was like on sale super cheap. They used to do that a lot. They'd put the 1st season out real cheap with the expectation that now you got to get the rest of them, which I do. And like I said, then we got the season with Dual Spires. And yeah, I do want to get the rest of them. It is a brilliant show. It's a brilliant show. It's got that Sherlock Holmes superpower, right? The keen observation and deduction based on that. Although the characterization is completely different. The dynamic, in a way, it really is a modern dress Sherlock Holmes. Just a very, very different a kind of story, instead of a very cerebral, detached heroin addict. You have a young, impulsive, undisciplined individual. But most of the other elements are there. You got the Watson character. You've got working with the police to solve mysteries and so forth. You even end up with something of a Moriarty character, albeit a gender-bent one, but that's a topic for another time, maybe. We'll see how much people are interested in focusing on that topic. Orville Nation, PJ, Inspiration Television. Welcome, my friend. Yeah, I just tagged you in an article about the Orville. Didn't know if you knew about it or not. Apparently there is some pending news or update coming from Seth MacFarlane about the future of the Orville. I hate when you get stuff like that, because you automatically assume, oh, that means he's going to announce a new season. And that's not what it means at all. It just means there's something that he wants to share with everyone. And he wants to get everyone's attention. And it's always going to be like something mundane. Well, I'm still working on it, but I have this other project that I'm working on that I want you all to pay attention to. That's the way these things tend to go. Looking forward to it as well, especially the extended version, which I had not seen yet. So, I don't know. Honestly, it's been so long since I saw the episode. I may not even recognize what added scenes are in it. We'll kind of have to see. But yeah, and the reason it was important to me to share with you the behind the scenes as well is because there's a lot of great interviews with the Twin Peaks alum that are guest starring in this. Good stuff. Sorry I can't stay. Well, sorry you can't stay, but that's fine. You could always catch the rerun if you are so inclined. But leaving the stream up and hitting that like button. Hope all is well. See, that's somebody who understands how the engagement works, right? It's not just the watch time. In fact, it's less the watch time now than it is the likes, the comments. This is what YouTube calls engagement. Guys, I seriously believe that when these big channels are telling you that people are being randomly unsubscribed from their channels, the reason they're being unsubscribed is because someone goes and subscribes and then never goes back to that channel. You're not consuming the content of the channel you subscribe to. If you don't do that, you lose the subscription. And I think it's YouTube's way of just keeping track of what channels are getting real traffic with real engagement. It's rough, but, it's also a question of substance, right? I mean, just coming and subscribing to a channel, it's a nice thing to do, but if you're not really engaging with the channel, there's no substance there, Oh, it was season 5. Season 5. I apologize. Okay. So I guess that's what we have. We have season 1 and we have season 5 of Psych. Drive-by like from Joe's Atmosphere. Thank you so much, my friend. Joe is great about sharing out the stream on the socials. He really is wonderful in that regard. The creator of the show said he came up with the idea because his father, a police detective in real life, was training him, like Sean, to notice everything and be observant. I have always tried to be that way far more. They call it situational awareness, right? Be aware of what's going on around you. And I can't tell you the times that I am with people that I literally have to hold by the shoulders and turn their bodies as they're walking, or they will walk into a door, or they will walk into another person, or they're standing in an aisle, and not paying attention to what's going on around them. And they are always the first person to complain when someone else does it. Be aware of your surroundings, Now, granted, it comes from being a driver, especially in an urban area like Chicago, right? They always teach you what? Defensive driving. It's not just you keeping it between the lines, stopping at stop signs and stoplights, turning when you're supposed to, indicate. You can do everything right and still be in an accident. You have to pay attention to what the other guy's doing. Literally, you need to be paying attention to all the cars immediately adjacent to you, all the cars out in front of you, all the cars, on connecting roads. I can't tell you how many times I've avoided accidents because I saw the light change and I knew I could probably go through that yellow light, but I also saw this other car coming perpendicular who was not going to be able to stop in time. And I was like, yeah, he's going to blow that red light. And if I just drive out, I'm going to get hit. And technically, it'll be my fault because I drove through a yellow light, right? But it doesn't matter whose fault it is. When you're in the accident, you're less concerned whose fault it is so much as I wish I had avoided this. Anyway, sorry, completely separate thing. But yes, being aware of those details. And there's obviously what you're seeing in a show like Psych is taking it to the nth degree. Nobody is that observant. Nobody, catches all of those details. Nobody has a true photographic. Well, no, I take that back. There are people with true photographic memories, but most people can't develop a skill like that. You can get really good, but that eidetic memory that's a very, very rare thing that very few people have. So they treat it more like a superpower in this particular show. But it is a skill you can develop. And it can be pretty amazing when, hey, have you seen my such and such? Yeah, it's in the kitchen, on the table, right underneath the paper that says this, that, and the other. Why? Just because I happen to have been observant about the details of what was on the table and I saw the thing. And there was probably a little thing in the back of my mind, they're going to ask about that. So just remember it. I watch Psych regularly while it aired. Yeah, back when we had cable, right? Remember the days of cable? I'm trying to branch out a bit since I'm so laser focused into interviews. Fair enough. That is always good. It's just YouTube flexing his muscles because they can't, and making changes to make it harder for the little guy. Yeah, I understand the pessimism, but, it's not like Netflix sits there and twirls their mustache and cackles, right? They're not just evil for evil's sake. When you understand their motivations, it kind of makes sense. Are they going to focus on the big guys over the little guys? Yes, because that's where their bread is buttered. But by and large, how do they determine who the big guys and the little guys are? The qualifier is the engagement. What are people watching? What are people really watching? This is really no different than advertisers deciding what shows are valuable based on Nielsen ratings. Nielsen ratings being based on people actually watching and then reviewing whether or not they like the show and whether or not they were going to come back and watch a show. It was easier to keep track of those things back in the day. Now they're using algorithms to see how much you're watching. But if you are the type that just goes and we've done this for each other, right? Leave a channel just playing. That gets them the watch time, but that doesn't count for engagement. And YouTube realizes that, and they want to know that there are eyes on it for the purpose of the commercials. That's why you got to leave a comment, you got to hit the like button, and all these kinds of things. They're just finding different ways to get their metrics because they have to justify to their advertisers, yeah, you're getting bang for your buck. It's worth it to invest your advertising dollars in YouTube because we will do everything we can to make sure that your commercials are seen. Be mindful of your surroundings, young Jedi. Yes, exactly right. While I'm grateful, I'm assuming that's grateful, I was finally monetized. I am also upset at YouTube for making it so difficult. Yeah, I hear you. An accident sucks no matter who is at fault. I can't tell you how many times that I've suffered the consequences of, I know where I went wrong. And I've gotten hurt or I've smashed my car or something like that. And it's going to cost me a lot of money or whatever the case is. It doesn't help to know it was my fault and that I can't blame someone else. Even if I could blame someone else, it doesn't change the circumstance. So I guess it's worse when it's your own fault because you could have avoided it in the first place. Netter's usually pretty good about the I know where that thing is, usually, because she knows where most things are in the house. Although then there's the time I say to her, honey, do you know where the such and such is? And you see the shift where I got to drop everything I'm doing and go looking for it. No, you don't. You do not have to do that. It was a yes or no question. Do you know where it is? If the answer is no, just leave it be. This year has been concerning for MCU and Disney. Agatha beat Daredevil and Fantastic Four reception has been weak. Joe, welcome, by the way, Joe. I know that you're a big Marvel fan, but I'm sorry. The quality just isn't there. And it's not just about what the fans want in their franchise. It's also about the normies and whether or not they're interested, and they're just not. The formula that made the MCU has been absolutely ignored. So there was a fairly genius idea that you needed to see all of the MCU films because they were leading up to something and you didn't want to miss nothing, right? But they took that to the extreme, and they moved it onto their streaming service. So they said, okay, now you have to subscribe to Disney Plus, and then you got to watch all these TV shows that were mediocre at best to know what's going on with the next movie. And everyone said, F you, I am not doing that. So then what's it called? The Thunderbolts come out, or whatever it is, and people go to the movie and go, I have no idea who the hell these people are. Well, that's because you didn't watch the last 5 series that came out on Disney Plus. You know, wait a minute. When did the Falcon become Captain America? Well, you didn't watch the show that was on the streaming service. And people are like, I'm done. There's too much for me to catch up on. I'm done. Not to mention the fact that you'd already trained the audience that no, you don't really need to watch this stuff because they all went to see Captain Marvel, which nobody wanted to see, but they saw it anyway out of duty because they wanted to see everything before Endgame, only to get to Endgame and she has a teeny tiny little role in it. And it's like, so I didn't really need to watch that movie. Nope, you didn't. So people are just going, I'm not willing to do the homework, especially on a show like Agatha, you know, or what was the one, WandaVision. WandaVision, which started out great, and by the end was an incredible disappointment. The fans were disappointed. The normies were disappointed. Anybody who understood storycraft was angry because you realized, oh, my hero's been a villain this whole time. Yep. In fact, she was the villain of the next movie. Wanda and the Multiverse of Madness. Another movie about a villain. My dad used to say you should never drive like you're an expert driver. You should drive like everyone else is an idiot. That's exactly it, Nate. That's the defensive driving I was talking about. That's exactly right. Remember what you told me when I nearly cut my thumb off with a belt sander? Yeah, exactly right. You got to be careful. Better to avoid the accident than try to fix it after the fact. Okay, if the answer is yes, that's fine. The answer is, but that's not what you do. See, you're not really representing the truth here, Netter. You don't say anything. You don't answer my question, and you get up and go looking for it. The answer was no, and you go looking for it. See, that's what I want to avoid. If the answer is no, tell me it's no, okay? And then let me tell you it's urgent, or that's fine, we'll worry about it later. My God, are you sure that Netter and my wife aren't sisters? She does the exact same thing. Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'm sure that there are generalizations to be made, right? I'm sure there are things about women that are generally true. There are things about men that are generally true. I know that must blow people's minds. There are people that are now reeing and going, no, that is not true. It is. Target audience for Marvel and action movies is, in general, young adults. they are trying to make a 4-quadrant film every time. This goes for every franchise. I assume this continues. Even your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man has been mixed. A show I liked. It's an Elseworld Spider-Man show in which Norman mentors. Yeah, you've told me about that. And keep in mind, Elseworld is DC, so what you mean is it's a what if. It's a what if universe. And again, I don't like that. I don't like that because generally, the multiverse storyline was not a trope of Marvel. Until very recently, it wasn't. The only multiverse you got was in terms of the what ifs. And they were one-offs, generally. Very poignant, but not places you necessarily wanted to stay in. And it ends up becoming brand delusion when you have all, this is Spider-Man. Yes, he's Marvel, but he's not the same Spider-Man that would be in this over here with the cartoons. And it's not the same Spider-Man that you see interacting with the Avengers over here, which is a different Spider-Man than, start getting your ducks in a row. We pay Kevin Feige and people like him way too much money to be, yeah, whatever. It's just multiverse bullshit, whatever, I mean, if I could coast that easily, it would sure beat working after all. MeTV, yes, has been showing old cartoons lately at night. It's been fun revisiting Super Friends and the Legion of Doom. Yeah, I've got all of these on DVD, so that's kind of the problem, though, right? I mean, when it comes on a broadcast or something like that, and then you start watching it. But when you have it sitting on your shelf, it just sits on your shelf. Because I can watch it any time, right? Oh, you've been watching the Super Friends too, huh? And welcome, Leia Plus Size. Always good to see you. Yeah, the multiverse or Elseworld saga was very much DC. So much so they had Crisis on Infinite Earths with which James Gunn should adapt for the big screen. I think they should just leave it alone. What they should do, or what James Gunn should do, and I think he actually might be doing this, if I'm honest, is just assume the crisis has already happened. And you're rebooting this is post-crisis, right? The John Byrne era of the 90s, right? Late 80s, early 90s. The Marv Wolfman, George Perez era of Wonder Woman. They should draw a lot of inspiration from that for their upcoming Wonder Woman, and just kind of use that as the reboot. And you just assume that, and like I said, it looks like he's doing that. There's a history of these characters. So you have your All-Star Squadron, Justice Society, all of them in the past, probably fought during World War II and stuff like that, all happened and existed, but this is the present moving forward. I think that's a very smart way to start doing things. And if you're going to do any multiversal stuff, it should be stuff like, what was that Crisis of Two Worlds or whatever, where you have the antimatter universe, essentially the mirror version of the DC universe. And you don't do that for extended periods of time. You just do a one-off, or whatever. Yeah, I think that would be kind of brilliant, actually. But then when you do it, you have the counterparts played by the same actors. So you would have Corn Sweat playing Superman and Ultraman. And you would have, I'm trying to remember, was it Was it Diana Prince who was the Wonder Woman, or was it Lois Lane who was the Wonder Woman? But she's not called Wonder Woman in that world. She's Superwoman over there. I can't remember now. Anyway, whoever's playing your Flash analog should be playing the same character in both universes and so forth. Professor Xavier, you have caused the horrors of the future. There you go. There you go. It hurt that they killed Barry Allen in the 80s. But I do like that idea of there being deaths that have gravitas and that stick. You know, Barry Allen became for DC in a way kind of what the original Captain Marvel was for Marvel, right? You know, when they killed him off, that was a big deal, and he needed to stay dead. You know, that's kind of how it works. Also, Sony has greenlit video game movies adaptations after a long time. A God of War series and Ghosts of, I'm going to butcher this, Tsushima movie and series are in development. Okay, that's cool. And I think that games, since they're not considered part of any kind of continuity or canon, is a great way for them to revive old franchises and see if there's an interest for them. That's my thought. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and hit you with the promos so you guys know what's coming up this week, mostly. And we'll come back in just under 3 minutes, okay?
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together. Sean and Gus receive a mysterious email inviting them to the Cinnamon Festival in Dual Spires, a quirky town that's nearly invisible on a map in this homage to Twin Peaks. We'll revisit this funny parody and go behind the scenes of its production next time on Live from Sparkwood and 21 this Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
The Xenon-based security systems have locked down the Scorpio, effectively stranding our heroes. The computerized lock leading to the launch silo can only be opened by Avon, who has his hands full after becoming enmeshed in a war between local tribes. And if that wasn't bad enough, there's a weapon counting down inside the launch silo, threatening to release its nuclear power. This week on Last Call presents Blake's 7. Tuesday at 10 p.m. Central.
This week on Netters Network, we're celebrating a channel that just hit the milestone of YouTube monetization. We'll sit down and chat with Corey of Wilkie's Movies and Music and give you a chance to subscribe and maybe become a member. All this and more on Netters Network, Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, it's a special double feature. Sent on a quest to rescue a princess, 4 clueless players must guide their characters through dangerous forests, ancient ruins, and past the girl next door. It's The Gamers. Then, a gaming geek takes his playing very seriously, unlike his babyish friends who'd rather be immature. He decides to shake things up by introducing 2 unconventional people to their group in The Gamers Dorkness Rising on Netters Network Retro Cinema. Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Papa Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it somewhere else, but Boomer and Pacelli put a spin on it you likely won't hear anywhere else. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Oops, I lost my mouse there. Nate says, Troy, you have a great point there, because the way James Gunn jumped into Superman it would appear that this was probably after Crisis. Yeah, it does look like that post-Crisis streamlined world, right? And also, I think he's also trying to combine. He's looking across all the generations of these characters for the stories he wants to tell. Look at the costume that Superman has. It's got some elements of the New 52 with the stupid collar and the armor look to it, but it's got the briefs and it's got the from a distance, it definitely has that classic look to it. So he's trying to do basically what I have said all of these franchises need to do. You don't just pick one. You gotta look across the board and blend things together. He's drawing ideas and Easter eggs and whatnot, like a lot from the Silver Age, but a lot from the Bronze Age as well. So I think that's smart. And he does seem to be putting in more effort into looking at the broad picture than, all I ever read was The Dark Knight Returns and I want to tell that story. So I'm just going to make stuff up that leads up to that immediately, The MCU got to the level stupid when they gave Feige full control. As long as he is there, it will not get better. Doomsday won't fix anything. If anything, it's not looking good at all. Doomsday is going to be a big flop. That is going to possibly be the final nail for Feige and possibly the MCU. And I'm not saying I'm happy about that. I don't want that. I want it to get back to good storytelling, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Agent Boomer, va salut. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're enjoying your week off. I really do. The Horror King, va salut, my friend. Good to see you as well. I think it's more Bob Chapek issue as he demanded more content. That's what Feige alluded. Bob Chapek has become the scapegoat. People need to understand Bob Chapek was never truly in charge. Bob Iger never truly left. It's been Bob Iger's problem from the beginning. And it's not about the quantity. It's not about the quantity. It is about the plan. And there has never been a plan, except in the early days when people like Jon Favreau were involved. They would make single movies with the general idea that it was leading up to something, and there was a little bit of connective tissue, but each movie stood on its own, and they were well-crafted single stories. You didn't need to do all the homework, And then when you got to the big one, you were focused on the character you liked and the big story that was, leading up to. And you saw it from the point of view of the character that you liked, right? So, Captain America, first time he meets Iron Man and the Hulk, if you had only ever watched, the Captain America movie, well, you were seeing it from his point of view, and you got to know those characters, and there was no problem. There's the story craft of a single movie to make it excellent. There is the narrative craft of knowing how that story can fit in with others in a more broad sense, what you're leading up to. And there is a big picture planning that goes into what does my whole universe look like and what are all the stories that I want to plan out. This whole idea that they had broken up into phases, the next phase of the Marvel Universe, makes it sound like they had a plan, but they never did. They had no damn clue what the next phase was going to be. They're like, let's try this now. Let's try that. No. They should have had 10 phases planned out. This is going to be this story arc. That's going to lead into this story arc. That's going to lead into this story arc. Etc., etc., etc. And then there's nothing wrong with having characters that are, your what do you, who's the blind lawyer? Daredevil. You do your Daredevil series, you get little Easter eggs of like somebody reading a newspaper and something that happened in the movies, it's in the same universe. But because they're street level characters, you're seeing it more from the point of view of the average person in the Marvel universe that isn't directly involved in those big level stories. And you can do that. And that's not going to affect the continuity of any of those movies at all. Yeah, but blaming Chapek, that's... The idea of him being a scapegoat has been debunked a long time ago. It is a cheap excuse. It's the dog ate my homework that Bob Iger keeps wanting you to believe. Yeah, all the deaths in comics, to me, the deaths of Barry Allen was the one with the most gravitas. Yeah, that one. Obviously, Uncle Ben. What was it? Barry's wife, too, when she died, because that was a big part of the story arc. Iris West, was that her name? When Uncle Ben dies, that one's got to be, and it's got to exist. The Waynes, Bruce's parents, they have to die. These are deaths that have to happen. Killing off major characters, if you are replacing them, and you have someone taking over the role, and you're prepared to let Wally West become Flash, then yeah, Barry Allen, it's perfectly fair to kill him off and make it a big deal. And let's face it, that was the biggest death. That was literally running himself to death to save the multiverse, to save all of time. And they set it up brilliantly. They decided they were going to do it, and they planned it out months in advance, where people were seeing images of him pop in, dying, and then disappear, in different comics. That was very clever. Very clever. Great way to deal with time travel, too. He saved the multiverse, and he actually stayed dead for several decades. I guess he is back now. See, this is the thing. When you got something like the Flash, time travel, the Speed Force and everything, it does get a little wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. So you can kind of see that. Same kind of thing with Supergirl, right? Her death was a big deal during the crisis. And they've brought her back. One could argue it's not the same Kara Zor-El. This is a whole different rebooted universe. So she's just being introduced for the first time. So she's not the same Supergirl. In fact, they've had the Kara Zor-El that died in the crisis make appearances in some of those supernatural things where she's like a spirit on the other side or whatever, I kind of like that. Looking forward to the Outrun movie. I don't even know what that is, but okay. And in flagrant self-promotion, because you have a blue wrench, and that's why I give it to you, here is the link to tomorrow's interview with Troy. Thank you so much, my friend. And like I said, if you stay with us tomorrow at the end of the show, we'll just go right on over there. 10-word review for Sketch is up over on Big Al Presents. Make sure you check that out. Let's see. Bob Iger, yeah. His brain is set on stupid, so he wanted lots of content as well. That's another. I was just watching that Park Place. I think it was that Park Place just before today's stream. They were talking about Bob Iger and saying how, well, his contract's coming up, but it would not surprise me in the slightest if he renews yet again, because he just can't stop. And if that's the case, then nothing changes at Disney. I was at a job interview recently, and the interviewer asked me if I could perform under pressure. I said no, but I could give Bohemian Rhapsody a shot. Dun, 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 dun. Feel free to use that joke whenever you want. There you go. But I don't like that he's adapting Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow for the movie. So, I agree with you, Nate. I really do. But at the same time, what do you do with Supergirl? Although I don't like the take that Woman of Tomorrow puts on Supergirl, she doesn't have a lot of story prior to that. They're trying to differentiate her as a teenage girl with her own thoughts, her own problems. She's not just a support character for Superman. That's as it should be. And if you and I am a huge Supergirl fan. I collected the entire run of the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl right up to her death in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I went back and started getting the earlier Supergirl comics, whether it was Superman Family or I've gotten some of the issues of Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane, which had a Supergirl section in it and so forth. Been collecting all of those. And those stories are pretty two-dimensional surface level. There's not a lot of character there. And they don't really start making her more three-dimensional until Woman of Tomorrow. Do I like that story? No, I don't. But it's very modern teenager. So it's really hard for me to say it's not a good story to do, especially if what they plan to do is show her growing up. If this is her starting point, maybe that's a good starting point, and let's see her grow up into, a good, I don't know where they take her, Superwoman, Power Girl, I don't know, but we'll see what they do with her over time. If they are going to put that much thought into it, we'll see. Very weird choice as well. But what else are they going to do? I mean, like I said, is there a better story for them to do for Supergirl? We're trying to avoid doing origin stories now, it seems like. So what do you do to establish the character? I don't know. Jonathan makes a great point. DCU looks like it has its scripts ready and budgets compared to MCU. Yeah. Well, they know. I think all the movie companies are learning, if we want to pull a profit and maximize our profits, we need our budgets to be smaller. We got to talk about Kevin, because he's the main problem. He was focusing on bringing the modern Marvel comics. Yeah, the modern Marvel, all new, all different Marvel that nobody liked, and that's when they stopped buying comics. It almost bankrupted Marvel, which is how we actually end up where we are in the first place. It angers me Sony destroyed the amazing franchise with Andrew Garfield just to catch up with MCU. I agree with you, Joe. But at the same time, I understand why they did it. They're doing well over there. Maybe we can capitalize on some of that. Plus, there was a lot of pressure to bring Marvel together, get it all streamlined. Could have been good if they had gone and done that, but they did not do that. Which terrible joke are we talking about? We talking about the Bohemian Rhapsody? I saw that one. I didn't have an opinion until I recently read it, and it's not that good, and I think the artwork is... Yeah, we don't even have to worry about the artwork, right? Because you're completely changing mediums. Feige has no idea what to do. He thinks repeating the steps of phase 1. Yeah. He was the wrong person for the job ever, for all the way from the beginning. I take no delight in the fall of Marvel. In fact, I am sad about it. I want the stories to get better. Yeah, exactly. Which superhero spends too much time in the sun? Captain America. There you go. That's awesome. That is awesome. What do you call Bruce Banner when he won't talk to you? The Incredible Sulk. Aww. Nobody like me. Nobody like Hulk. James Gunn is supposed to be a writer. He could write a better story. The war. Get someone else who could. Here's the problem. He needs to get out of his own way. He knows he's got good instincts for telling stories, but if you just look at this last Superman movie, just when things are getting emotional and just when you need to let it breathe and let us feel, he's got to throw a joke in. And knowing when to do that and when not to is also a skill he needs to develop. Why did Tony Stark like his new assistant? Or why didn't Tony like his new assistant? He wasn't happy. I like that. Who is Thor's favorite singer? MC Hammer. Can't lift this. No. Can't lift this. Welcome, Lesser Skeptic Tank Obsessions. If I know what story angle they'd pull, I don't know what story was there unless Bonnie and Clyde take. And Kevin got all the praise, but the MCU wouldn't have if it wasn't for Jon Favreau. And like Perlmutter holding his hand. Yeah. Well, this is Disney's a PO, right? Or this is the way they go. I was just reading an article on that Park Place about Universal Studios just put a new person in charge of their version of Imagineering. That's a Disney term, but he used to be an Imagineer from Disney. They're saying they poached him, but Disney pushed him out the door. So what's he going to do? He's going to go work for the competition. And he's going to make the competition great because he brings all of that experience with him. And nobody at Disney has that experience. There are these dumb kids that are putting together animatronics that pull themselves apart because they didn't engineer them correctly. And they don't think through things like line of sight and the marketing elements of things. And that's why Disney is on a huge decline. And that's why Universal Studios is doing so much better in their parks. So, you just have to apply the Darwin principle to business. If you could do that, all businesses would be doing so much better. That's really all I have time for today. I got to get back to editing. But, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for coming and, coming and chatting with me. That's what Tuesdays is about. It's a conversation that we have, and I try to do that on all the Liquid Lunches, but I don't even come into Tuesdays with my own topic to talk about. It's all about you guys on Tuesdays. Tomorrow is WTF Wednesday. We'll probably find something that's got me in a little bit of a tizzy that I want to rant about a little bit. We'll see. I'm actually kind of surprised that nobody brought up the whole Freakier Friday debacle. The movie that nobody asked for, that clearly nobody went to see. So, anyway, guys, I want to thank you again. You guys are the only reason that these streams can actually happen. I thank you for all the ways that you support us here in the Last Callosphere, Netters Network, and so forth, with all the likes, the shares, and especially when you do things like drop the coins on me. That means the absolute world to me. Speaking of the Darwinism in the economy and business. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful one. Take care. Next up is live from Sparkwood and 21, the Psych episode Dual Spires. Hope to see you then. Take care, everyone. Catch you on the next one.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high